Looking for a fast-charging, ultra-responsive stylus for your iPad? Meet the 2X Fast Charge Active Stylus Pen, designed for 2018 to 2025 Apple iPads. Take your creativity and productivity to the next level. Click the link in the video description to shop now on Amazon.
Welcome to Electro Drive News. I'm your host. Germany's push for electric vehicles has gained momentum with new incentives aimed at corporate fleets. But have these measures left a gaping hole in the used electric vehicle market? Dr. Christoph Engelskirchen, chief economist at Autovista Group, joins me to explore this critical aspect of Germany's electric mobility strategy. So, what's behind the German government's latest approach to accelerate electrification? Well, it's part of their Responsibility for Germany program, a pivot from consumer subsidies to structural incentives and industrial support. Accelerated depreciation for electric company cars, extended vehicle tax exemptions for EVs until 2035, and streamlined permitting for charging infrastructure are just some of the measures designed to ease the financial burden on businesses and encourage fleet electrification. Now, let's take a closer look at how these incentives will affect companies and consumers leasing BEVs. Robert Matas, Autovista Group's regional head of valuations, explains that while the higher tax depreciation rates apply to companies purchasing vehicles for inclusion in their business assets, leasing companies must pass on the tax advantages through more favorable rates. Essentially, this means that leasing companies will need to lower their costs to make BEVs more attractive to consumers. It's worth noting that over the past year, Germany has leaned heavily towards the stick when it comes to driving EV adoption. But for company car drivers, there's still a substantial cut in benefit-in-kind taxation when choosing a battery electric vehicle over an internal combustion engine model. This is a welcome shift, but it still leaves critical gaps. The past year has shown that without subsidies, private individuals have had little incentive to go electric, whether purchasing a new or used vehicle. In fact, BEV registrations fell massively in the first months of 2024 after state subsidies expired. However, all-electric registrations have seen year-on-year growth of 43.2% so far this year, pushing the powertrain's market share to 17.6%. This growth is largely driven by improved affordability, with BEVs now available in almost every vehicle segment and often reaching a price close to conventional ICE powertrains. Furthermore, many companies have implemented ESG guidelines in favor of BEVs, which further reduces the appeal of internal combustion engine vehicles. So, it's clear that company car drivers are benefiting from these incentives, but what about private individuals? The German government has missed an opportunity to increase the attractiveness of used EV ownership. The policy falls short of addressing the used EV market, and this is a critical component for long-term adoption. Increasing new vehicle supply without stimulating the demand for used models isn't ideal, and stimulating EV leasing may actually increase new registrations to a level that used car markets can't absorb in 3 or 4 years. This poses an additional risk for residual values. Now, it's not all doom and gloom. There is still time to bolster demand for used EV ownership. To achieve this, the German government needs to implement a three-pronged approach. First, they need to bring down electricity costs. The proposed measure from their recent 2025 coalition agreement aims to do just that. This needs to be implemented swiftly. Second, the ramp-up of charging infrastructure must be sped up. Increasing competition in this space will help lower high electricity costs at public charging points. Currently, this can cost 3 times as much as at a private wall box. Third, governments need to disincentivize ICE ownership. Europe's leading EV market, Norway, has already shown that this can work. By increasing the costs of internal combustion engine vehicles, governments can encourage more people to make the switch to electric. Looking ahead, Germany needs a coherent and transparent roadmap for its EV strategy. This needs to be decisive and impactful, with measures that can be implemented over time and modified if necessary. The key is making these plans clear and comprehensible so people can get on board with them. Consumer uncertainty about the transition to EVs is driving angst about making the electric switch. As Germany recalibrates its EV strategy, The success of these measures hinges not only on their economic impact, but also on their ability to build public confidence in the electric future. That's all for today's episode of ElectroDrive News. Join us next time as we explore more news and developments from the world of electric mobility.